On the evening of September 26 of 2016, Keeshae Jacobs went out for a night with one of her friends, as well as to spend the night, but would be home in the morning. Her mom, Toni Jacobs, told her to just be careful and to let her know when she made it there safely. Keeshae texted her mom at around 11:42 p.m. to let her know she made it to her destination safely. That was the last time her mom heard from her daughter. So, what happened to Keeshae Jacobs, and where is she? Stick around as we look into this story, the disappearance of Keeshae Jacobs. Richmond, the capital of Virginia, also known for its city of culture, incredible nightlife, enjoyable river walks near the James River. And Richmond is also known for its unique shops and theaters, as well as charming neighborhoods. Of those neighborhoods is where Keeshae Jacobs grew up. Keeshae Jacobs was born on August the 6th of 1995. Keeshae was blessed with an older brother named Devon Jacobs. Her mother, Toni, describes Keeshae as quiet, loyal, loving, and adored her family very much. Keeshae attended Richmond High School and was a member of the cheerleading squad. After high school, Keeshae took some time in figuring out what career path she wanted to take. So she decided to work jobs, saving her own money and just enjoying living life by spending time with friends and family. September 26th of 2016 was a typical day for Keeshae. Keeshae told her mother via text message that she was planning on spending the night at a friend's house. Keeshae was last seen by Toni around 11 p.m. that night, before leaving out with a friend to enjoy the night. Toni told Keeshae to let her know that she made it there safely. Around 11:42 p.m., Keeshae did text her mom to let her know she made it to her destination safely. The next morning came when it was expected of Keeshae to be back at home. Toni noticed her daughter wasn't home, which was unusual as Keeshae would keep in contact with her mother on her whereabouts. Toni sent Keeshae text messages that was left unanswered, which was also unusual of Keeshae. Toni became concerned of Keeshae's miscommunication and not being home, so she decided to reach out to Richmond Police, which were unhelpful as they told her since Keeshae was an adult, it's possible she left on her own. Toni wasn't just going to sit down and wait. She wanted answers and to find out where her daughter was. After asking the friends who were with Keeshae that night, they revealed where she was dropped off and took her to the neighborhood. That location was on the 3100 block of East Broad Street, which was near the Chimborazo Park in the Church Hill neighborhood. The friends also led Toni to the exact house. Toni then went to the house and a man answered the door. The man by the name of Otis Tucker mentions that Keeshae did in fact visit the house, but only stayed for a few minutes before someone picked her up. At this point, Keeshae had been missing long enough for an investigation to begin. Investigators gained access to Keeshae's social media and bank accounts and noticed inactivity on them. The investigators also went to the house where Keeshae was last seen, but there were no implications of Keeshae. Toni decided to go back to the house and was told the man that she spoke with was no longer living there. She also discovered a basement in the house, which had her thinking that if this man was involved in Keesha's disappearance, he may have had her in the basement this entire time. As everyone continues to search for Keeshae, another tragedy hits the Jacobs family. On January 8th of 2017, Devon Jacobs, Keeshae's brother, was shot at a Southside Motel 6 in Richmond by a man named James Henshaw. James Henshaw was arrested and charged for the homicide. The charges were later reduced to voluntary manslaughter. Henshaw took a plea deal and was sentenced to 10 years with 5 suspended and credit for time served. All in all, Henshaw served 3.5 years behind bars and has since been released. Tony told News 6 that the system failed him. In November of 2017, nearly 4 months into the disappearance of Keeshae, the police announced that they suspected foul play in her case. Throughout the years, Keeshae's case remained open, as well as the police receiving any information into Keeshae's disappearance. On September of 2022, a woman by the name of Keeshae G was serving time in the Richmond jail when she agreed to speak to News 6 about information in regards to the last person reported seeing Keeshae that night. Keeshae lived at the Churchill home and knew the man who was also living at the home, Otis Tucker. I'm sure we all remember that name. He answered the door when Tony came to the house to find answers in regards to Keeshae back in 2016. Keeshae reveals that Otis was invited by her to the Churchill home to help care for her great-grandmother, who was also living at the house at the time. She also mentions that Otis, Keeshae, and Keeshae knew each other through work and hung out together. While Tucker stayed at the house, Tucker attacked Keeshae by tying her up, taking advantage of her physically, strangled, and forced her to take some pills. Since Keeshae was used to taking these pills, it didn't affect her. He then untied her, and this is when she was able to get away. She later moved out of the house. After hearing this information, Tony feared that perhaps her daughter may have met with the same fate. He was arrested and charged for strangulation. On November 1st of 2022, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office in Florida responded to an apartment complex on Southside Boulevard to check on a disturbance. Police were on the scene and were informed by neighbors that they heard loud banging and screaming coming from one of the neighbors in the complex. The people in the neighborhood observed a black male fleeing from the back of this home. The police conducted a search in and around the area. While searching inside, the responding officers found a woman's body. While investigating this crime, the police were able to identify the male, who is none other than Otis Tucker, as the suspect. The SWAT team were involved, and Tucker was arrested for second-degree homicide and tampering with physical evidence, but was later upgraded to first degree. Though there hasn't been confirmation that Tucker had any involvement in Keeshae's disappearance, Keeshae's mom is hopeful that this could be a step closer into finding out what truly happened to her daughter. The police encourage anyone with information that would be helpful to this case to please contact the Richmond Police Department at 804-646-0729. As always, thank you for spending some of your time here at the True Crime Spot. We'll see you in the next video.